Hello, welcome to the CCL YouTube channel. My name's Alex, and today we're going to look at the past perfect. We use the past perfect when we're talking about something that happened in the past before another thing that happened in the past happened. If that didn't make much sense, don't worry, we're going to look at some common examples in this video. So let's start with an easy one. We often use the verb forget with the past perfect. For example, I went to the shop, but I had forgotten my wallet. So there are two actions here. Firstly, I went to the shop, and secondly, I forgot my wallet. Which one happened first? If you said that I forgot my wallet first, then you are absolutely right. We show that this is first by using the past perfect, which means I use had and the third form of the verb, in this case, forgotten. So I went to the shop, but I had forgotten my wallet. Have you ever been somewhere and realized that you've forgotten something? Tell us about it in the comments below. Another verb that's often used in the past perfect is to leave. For example, by the time I arrived at the station, the train had left. As before, the first action is that the train left the station. Then, a few minutes later, I arrived at the station. We often use this about transport, but it can also be about people. For example, by the time I arrived at the party, everyone had left. Has this ever happened to you? Have you missed a train or a bus because you were late? Have you been late to meet a friend so they had already left? Tell is another verb often used with the past perfect. For example, the student said he didn't know about the homework, but the teacher had told him several times. Again, in this sentence, the teacher tells the student about the homework, and then later the student says that he didn't know about it. Have you been told something by a teacher or your parents, but then forgotten about it? Something that might sound a little strange is that we can use the verb to have in the past perfect, which means that we can end up with had. So for example, when she came back from her holiday, she had had a lot of fun. When speaking, we often contract the first had if possible, so that it would be she'd had a lot of fun. This makes it sound less awkward when we use had. If we're talking about food, we will often try to avoid had and use eaten instead. So we could say either she was sick because she had had too many sweets, or she was sick because she had eaten too many sweets. Has anything happened to you because you had too much of something? Had done is another common past perfect combination. For example, he had done a lot of revision, so he wasn't worried about the exam. This one's quite common in the negative form too, hadn't done. For example, he hadn't done his homework for maths. And a final one for this video, we often use the phrase to make a mistake with the past perfect. So for example, I only knew I had made a mistake when I got to the party and nobody else was wearing a costume. Have you ever made a mistake? Tell us about it in the comments. I hope these examples give you some ideas about how to use the past perfect correctly. Use the link in the description below and head over to the CCL website to practice these phrases further. I'll see you in the next lesson.